you know. All right. Second Corinthians chapter 9 says, "For as touching the ministering to the saints," and for those of you who don't know, guys, this is Paul speaking. Okay? This is Paul, the same one who was Saul, who was converted on the road to Damascus. Yeah. So this is him speaking. And before I go any further, yesterday when I was on live yesterday, somebody, even though yesterday we're talking politics, somebody came in and said that they were opposed to the current nominee for the Democratic Party. They were opposed to it, and the person had the audacity to mention the Bible. But just so that I can make you all understand how people misconstrue the Bible and how people just get up and you just say something that somebody else has said. They just repeat, they just parrot something that somebody else has said without any foundation, without any research, without any. We all might be guilty of that sometimes. But when it comes on to the Bible, people always say, God say. Because people have been brainwashed into believing that anything at all that's written in the Bible, it was written by God. Yeah. The person said, God say, no woman mustn't lead anything. For those of you who have read the Bible, never read in the Bible say, any God say that? I know y'all couldn't answer because not no go so. All right. We had read just a few days ago, we had read in 1 Corinthians 14, I think it was, verse 34. Quote me, I don't think I'm wrong. But 1 Corinthians 14, verse 34, where Paul was telling the people in the church at Corinth that the women should not say anything in the church. And he went on to say, as is the law, which right there clarifies what he intended for them to understand from that statement. Because you remember the law coming down from Moses said that women were not allowed to assume positions of authority. Those were the days when women were supposed to be submissive to men. You could not, if you have an opinion, you could talk about it with your husband privately in the home, but you were not permitted to go out and broadcast that opinion loudly. Your husband was the person who was permitted to speak in the church, in public gatherings, right? That was then. Yeah? That was then. And we know, those of you who have come into life, who intend to live your life with lots of objectivity, we know that the laws that Moses gave to the people back then, we could not maintain those laws now. And that was why there was a New Testament. Okay? But when Paul says a woman needs to go talk to her husband, she can't say nothing in the church, she needs to go talk to her husband. Paul was aligning that statement with the laws of the land at the time. We're not living like that today. Okay? So for those of you who like to take that, especially the men, like to take that and run with it and say women need to sit down, women can't lead nothing, women can't say nothing. And I bet a lot of you at home came out of a home with a single mother and she did a good job. Okay? So I don't know, you are saying a woman can't run nothing. But anyway, we're gonna move right along. I would have missed this. So Kevin, are you that with your 16 pack? Good morning. Good morning. Bless up yourself. Card, is that you? I think I see card right there. And the others of you who are new, welcome. Let us begin. 2 Corinthians chapter 2. No, 2 Corinthians chapter 9. For as touching the ministering to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you. I don't know why the talk is telling people that I'm talking about elections. Me not talking about no elections, TikTok, please. I don't know what's going on over there, my love. And for those of you, if you are over here and the talk and the stream is not acting right, you can always switch over to the tube, because I'm double streaming. So if you go over to the tube, you might not experience a lag in the videoing. Okay? I see you, sis. I don't know what is going on over there on the talk. I'm not sure what's going on. But we are going to do what we do. Okay? For as touching the ministering to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you. For I know the forwardness of your mind, for which I boast of you to them of Macedonia. And Achaia was ready a year ago, and your zeal hath provoked very many. Now this is Paul in his letter to the Corinthians, okay? Yet have I sent the brethren, lest our boasting of you should be in vain in this behalf, that, as I said, ye may be ready. Lest haply, if they of Macedonia come with me, and find you unprepared, that we say not ye, but we should be ashamed in this same confident boasting. Therefore, I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren, that they would go before unto you, and make up beforehand your bounty, whereof he had noticed before, that the same might be ready as a matter of bounty, and not as of covetousness. Verse 6. But that I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which sows bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purpose, as verse 7, every man according as he proposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver. We're going to read them again. Barry, what's up? Good morning, my love. How are you doing? How are you doing? I am on 2 Corinthians chapter 9. You got it? Okay. All right. Let us continue. Verse 8. And God is able to make all grace abound towards you, that he, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. As it is written, he hath dispersed abroad, he hath given to the poor, his righteousness remains forever. Now he that ministers seed to the sower, both minister bread for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness. All right, so somebody says, here is now the grace type of giving. What do you mean? Here now is the grace type of giving, in terms of giving to the church. Is that what you mean? So they are not being. Read 6 and 7 again. All right, let's read. Somebody's asking us to read verses 6 and 7 again, because they're saying that this is the grace part of giving as opposed to the forced giving. All right, so let us read it again. TT, what's up? But this I say, this is verse 6. I'm going back to read. But this I say, he which sows sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he that sows bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart. I got a tongue tie there. So let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver. We can read that again. You want me to read it again? Okay. But this I say, he which sows sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which sows bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Oh, you give it its purpose in your heart, rather than, finish that sentence for me, because rather than being forced to give, you give according to your heart. But then who is going to give you in the returns greatly if you give greatly? Doesn't that seem like let me see how I should say this. This seems like the people are being encouraged there then to give more. Does it feel like the people who give more are being coerced? I'm not sure I want to say coerced, but it seems like it to me. That the people are being coerced into giving more because they are being told that if you give more, you get more. Because if you tell me that if I donate more, my returns are going to be more. If I donate less, my returns are going to be less. Don't you see that as an encouragement, as an encouragement for me to donate more even if I only have less? It's practical. If you go to the garden and sow a few, you will only reap a few. But if you sow a lot, you receive It's practical in terms of the garden. Yes, if I go out and I have, say, 100 packets of seeds and I sow the 100 packets of seed in the garden, I would expect that I will have enough. There will be a lot of plants come up and a lot of yield from those plants. That is practical. And also the opposite is true. If I sow a few, I would only expect a few plants. But in terms of your your soul, in terms of your relationship with religion as it speaks of in the Bible here. Talk to me. How how does this relate? How do they relate? This kind of sowing, what they're talking about. Is it in tithing? Is it in sowing of the soul? You know, putting in a lot of religious studying, a lot of understanding of this gospel that Paul is talking about. If you work on it a lot, you will get a lot out of it. I didn't think it would be so. I thought it would have been, you say it is in all things. Why is that all things so broad? All things in terms of their religion, or just in terms of their life in general? Because guys, in all practicality, if say you are working on an art, if say you are starting a small business, and you work day and night, 20 hours a day, you put into it, you invest in it, you put into it. Don't you expect it to take off? You expect it to be successful. You expect to get out of it what you have put in, right? If you don't put nothing into it, you just lackluster, whatever. If it come, it come. You don't get nothing out of it. There's nobody to blame. Should that be the same thing, though, with religion? You think it should? So you see how that could be misconstrued as though the people who have a lot will get more blessing, and the people who don't have a lot won't get much. You see how somebody like me could misconstrue that argument right there? Because to me, that's how it would appear. If I do more praising, or you say with spirituality, not with religion. So you are saying that with spirituality, if you put in more into your spirituality, you will get more. But I thought the receipt of blessings was not tied to how much you do. I'm a little bit frazzled right there, people, because that would be like the same thing with Moses. And I thought the gospel of Paul would have been the gospel of Paul is supposed to be different, right? Because Paul is teaching in the New Testament from the teachings that he has gotten during that time, the teachings of Jesus. That's different from the teachings of Moses, by the way, for those of you who are not aware. Yes, the teachings of Jesus were not the same as the teachings of Moses. Okay, there are some things that he maintained because they seemed practical, but not everything. And that is why when we read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, where Jesus constantly said to the people that, yes, Moses told you that, but it wasn't true. Okay? So even the Bible confirms that not everything Moses told the people was true. Oh, okay. All right, my partner said we'll talk about this later because she can't log on to the talk to come up and tell us. So we will continue reading. We'll talk about it later, and then maybe we could revisit it tomorrow morning. Fair enough? Okay. Let us continue, guys. For those of you just coming, we are reading from 2 Corinthians chapter 9. As it is, verse 9 says, as it is written, He hath dispersed abroad, he hath given to the poor, his righteousness remains forever. Now he that ministers seed to the sower, both ministered bread for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness, being enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which causeth through us thanksgiving to God. Hey Nini, what's up? How are you doing? Good morning. For the administration of this service not only supplies the want of the saints, but is abundant also by many thanksgivings unto God. Whilst by the experiment of this ministration they glorify God for your professed subjection unto the gospel of Christ, and for your liberal distribution unto them, and unto all men. And by their prayer for you, which long after you for the exceeding grace of God in you. Thanks be unto God for his unspeakable gift. Awe kade, kad, why chapter 9 seems like Paul go around the thing so? Why does chapter 9 have me lost? Yeah, chapter 9 kind of have me lost. I'm going to have to reread that, lovely people. I'm going to have to reread chapter 9 to see where Paul is going with this. Because, honestly, I'm not sure where he's going. Because he starts, you say how so? He starts, because it's so for me. I don't know if my brain not wake up yet or what. I know my brain ain't wake up yet, but for some reason, my friends, I do feel a little discombobulated after having read that. And I guess this is what happens when a lot of us read the Bible. We say, oh, we can't be bothered with reading the Bible because I don't understand it and we get confused and I don't know what they must say. I don't know who I talk. I don't know who them I talk to. Yeah, this is one of those cases. I know who is talking. I know who is talking to, but what he's saying in this letter, I'm not so sure I get it. But I'm going to read it again. Yeah. I'm not in a hurry. Nobody not running after me. I can read it even 10 times until I feel comfortable enough that I understand it. Right? So I'm going to read it one more time. I may stop at the full stop them and I pause at the commas, just to make sure you and I understand it. And, and still, lovely people. But anyway, let us do it again. Let us do it again. 2 Corinthians chapter 9. For us touching the ministering to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you. For I know the forwardness of your mind. All right. So he knows how they think. All right. For which I boast to you, to them of Macedonia. Okay. So remember, we had read before that he had traveled to Macedonia. So here he's telling these people, I know your thoughts because when I went to Macedonia, I spoke to the people about how you think, because I know how you think. If you are listen. She said if I'm discombobulated this morning, don't take you all along with me. Listen, if you don't want to come, along with me, no come. But me know you're coming. So relax yourself and come along with me. Help me out. Take me out of this state. Because you have read and reread this thing and analyzed and reanalyzed it. So maybe I am as sure as a book that you can contribute something meaningful to the chat and take me out of this state that I am in. But I don't know why the talk is giving you a hard time. You know what next account can come in with? But we're gonna read anyway. Legend is here. Good morning, Legend. What's up? How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm gonna read this again. Chapter 9. I'm gonna read chapter 9 again. Legend, me just read chapter 9 of the 2nd Corinthians. But for some reason, either my brain no wake up yet or something me kinda lost as to what Paul is. You're just awake. I'm kinda lost as to what Paul is saying to the people out there at Corinth. So I'm going to read it again. Yeah. And see if by reading it again, I kind of get on board. My brain kind of wake up to it. For as touching the ministering to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you. For I know the forwardness of your mind, for which I boast of you to them in Macedonia, that Achaia was ready a year ago, and your zeal hath provoked very many. Yet have I sent the brethren, lest our boasting of you should be in vain in this behalf. For, as I said, he may be ready. Lest haply, if they of Macedonia come with me and find you unprepared, we, that we say not ye, but we should be ashamed in this same confident boasting. Therefore, I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren, that they would go before unto you, and make up beforehand your bounty, whereof he had noticed before that the same might be ready as a matter of bounty, and not as of covetousness. But this I say, he which sows sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which sows bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver. Okay, finally. Good morning, sis. How are you doing? Hold on.
Morning.
Okay, good. My ear, you know. Hold on. Let me turn on this. Go on. I'm hearing you, my love.
Yes. So you're going back to verse 6 and 7.
Okay. Verse 6 and 7. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to read verse 6 and 7. And then we talk. Is that all
And he
right?
says so. Yeah.
Yes. But this I say, he which sows sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which sows bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart. So let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver.
Right. So how could
Talk to me about that. Overton, good morning. How you doing, my love?
this place to you can afford?
You
This
bring.
is not of works,
Uh-huh.
because there's somewhere there that Paul says that you can't equate your salvation or grace according to your works, lest any man should boast. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's clearly not talking about that. But it's like you've given grace got you in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're a DEI hire.
All right. All right. All right. Let's work with that.
You're a DEI hire, and you got your foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just gonna let's talk in terms of a hospital. You
Mm-hmm.
come in as a janitor, but are you gonna remain a janitor? Are you gonna try to study billing, and then from then maybe do a LPN and
Mm-hmm.
RN and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that to get your way up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it is not your giving or your works that gets you saved or your grace or salvation, but you're not supposed to remain there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the more work that you put into it is the more elevated you get in your understanding and your faith. Like anything else, that's why I said in all things.
So when he
So
says,
go ahead.
so when he says here that for God loves a cheerful giver, is he referring to tithing or what
Yes,
exact?
that's the way you. Yes, that's the way you give in the church today, as opposed to them telling you must give 10%.
Okay, okay, because he had mentioned the word tithe, so
Right.
I didn't want to just come up and inject that word into the conversation since Paul hadn't mentioned it. But he says God love a cheerful giver.
Exactly.
So
Now,
does that mean that you come to the church, you give as much, you give what you have? But
yes,
that is where now I have a question. Because if you said, all right, just come and give what you have, but then it says if you sow bountifully, you reap bountifully. And if you're not sow bountifully, you're not reap bountifully. So if I come and give what I have and all I have is 10 cents, it's going to be considered as a little bit. So that means that what I'm going to receive is going to be a little bit. That
no.
talk,
Okay.
talk to me then.
I'm glad you asked that question, because Jesus was in the temple and he was teaching and preaching to them, and they started giving money, and the woman that came up and gave her a little penny, he's the one he called out of the crowd and said, "This woman give more than all of you."
Yeah, I remember that.
So so if you only have, let's say, $10 or whatever, and you put $1 or $5 or whatever it is in there, the percentage of you putting could be bigger, greater than somebody who donated $10,000 to the ministry, but they're a millionaire.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So you're
Wonderful.
not giving an amount. You're not giving an amount, but it's like, let's take it back to grace. And when I said it wasn't, grace is not licensed to sin.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just as grace is not licensed, say, oh, well, I'm under grace, so I can curse my neighbor out, do whatever I want to do, and then I come back to God and say, hey, I'm sorry, let's move on, clean my slate, you know.
Forgive me. Yes.
Same way, it's the same way your giving is not licensed for you to go to church and just put $1 in there every Sunday and say, okay, well, I give.
Okay. Over time, it's also the same thing as like with helping others. We think if somebody has, going off of what Kat just said, where this person may have a whole farm with lots and lots of food, and there are people around who are hungry, and this person might give you like one little cucumber and two little mint leaves. But then there is the other person who don't have it like that. But that person say, okay, you're going to need adequate nutrition. So I'm going to give you 2 leaves of kale. I'm going to give you a watermelon. I'm going to give you some beans. I'm going to give you 2 okras. I'm going to give you enough to make you a meal. That person who didn't have much but gave with purpose, that gift would have been considered to be more meaningful than the person who have a whole big farm and him only give you like one little cucumber when
I'm so glad you said that.
he could actually afford to
I
give
am glad
you
you said that.
more substance, but he chose not to. Did I go
Well,
to the right place according to what we're talking about?
yeah, but I'm glad you said that. And the reason why I'm glad you said that, let's take it back now to Cain and Abel.
All right. Remember,
And then
Oh
now
yeah, remember Cain and Abel brought their gifts to God.
you you just explain Cain and Abel.
Okay. Yeah, Cain and Abel. For those of you who don't remember the story of Cain and Abel were the two first sons, according to the Bible, and they both brought their gifts to God. Cain was the farmer. One was a
Yeah.
Yeah, one was a farm. Cain was the farmer, and Abel was the shepherd. The, yeah,
Right.
Cain planted, and Abel raised animals. Now, when they both brought their gifts to God, Cain brought his gifts from his field. Whatever gifts him just go grab two corn, go grab two stick
Exactly.
and carry it to God. Abel, on the other hand, Abel was purposeful in his gift. Abel looked amongst the animals and he looked for a nice little goat that was about a year old with no blemish at all. It was beautiful. Yes, it was very bigly, but it was it was beautiful. And that's what Abel brought as his gift. And so when God looked at the gifts, he said, you know what? Cain just run go, they go grab two little something bring come. But Abel was purposeful in his gifts and he brought the best of what he had.
Not to, not to, not to, not to put aside that if you are a shepherd, a shepherd have relation like close relationship with his herd.
Mm-hmm.
He knows every one of them. You know, some farmers just call their cow and their goat by names
Every
and
one
all
of
that.
them have a name. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, which one of them actually gonna sacrifice and give to God today? Because any one of them I pick is gonna hurt me. Cain, on the other hand, just go out there, like you say, pull some corn, pull some
Mm-hmm.
kale, two little cassava and sweet potato, and put it on there and say, here you go. You understand? So you just explained it.
Mm-hmm. 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 So that was why God cursed Cain for his gift and blessed Abel with his gift. So is that the same when tying that into what Paul is saying here in the Corinthians? Is that
Hey, remember, God he's watching at you, and he knows what you can give and what you can't give. And I'm not saying that, well, God is sitting there saying, oh my God, Trev have 100,000 in the bank. Why didn't she
what
give
I
me that?
wish?
But at least when you bring, you understand. Well, at least when you bring something, you know that it's sort of sacrificial. If it's not sacrificial, then it's kind of not like,
It ain't really worth it. He ain't make the cut.
right.
Okay. Okay, I
You're
got
just
it.
trying you're just trying to get in the door. You don't want to elevate your learning, your spirituality. You, you understand? It's the same way with the giving. So that's how I see it.
Okay. All right. Let me
We're
see
not
what the people. Hold on. Let me see what the people say in the chat. That's so. Paul say, "Give with a willing heart." Um,
right.
Eric said, "Two mighties." I don't know what that means. Over that is not what you give. It is not what you
Oh,
give. It is.
Eric is talking about is the two might that the woman gave when Jesus was at the temple
Okay.
with them.
Okay. 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 Um, bountiful is based. Legend say bountiful is based on percentage, not amount. What?
Hmm?
Bountifully, legend says bountiful is based on percentage,
And
not
then let him
amount.
go take his percentage to the church.
Huh?
Percentage is 10%. We're breaking free from 10%. What is legend talking about?
I'm unsure. Eric says she gave all she had. Yes, yes, and she gave it with willingness. She
Yes.
gave it. It was all she had, so she gave with purpose. And the same
Yeah,
thing
but
that we were
like
saying
the
just
woman,
now.
Elijah.
Yes, that came between. going back to Cain and Abel, it's the same thing God was saying just now, where Abel gave purposefully. Cain just
Yeah.
dashed two little sitting in his sacrifice. Eric said, read Elijah and the Shunammite woman. Okay, so Elijah and the Shunammite woman, if me remember the story there right, Elijah always passed by to go up to the mountain to pray or
Mm-hmm.
to go minister, something like that. And the Shunammite woman um, called him in. Say, every day I see you passing by here. You know, want rest your foot them. You know, want, come inside of my house, come lay down and rest and make me give you tea. And that's what they talk about.
Oh, her daughter was sick. Her child was
Or,
sick.
or,
Daughter or son, something like that.
but wasn't it
And
that she called him in originally to come in because she had noticed that he keep passing by there every
she
day.
may have, she may have. I don't remember, but the whole story of the Shunammite is he was passing by. There was a famine in the land, and he said, "Bake me a cake." And she looked at him and said, "Bake you a cake? I just got this little barley here and two thing. I was gonna bake it, and me and my
My
son
son
was
was
gonna
gonna
eat
lay
it."
down and die. That was the one, right?
Exactly. Yes. And so she gave out of lack.
Right.
She didn't have, but the little she have, she still share it with him or give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, when he left there, she had so much that she could have shared with the whole village.
Okay, that's the one you were talking about, Eric,
Yeah, that's the Shunammite woman.
with Elijah and the Shunammite woman. Yes. So are you saying now that the people who give more in terms of the spirituality part, are you saying that if they give um engage more with their spirituality, they will get more response, get more better
Yeah, like
outcomes? What are
you
you
just become
saying?
a Christian, you go to church, you got baptized, you say, okay, all right, now I believe in Jesus Christ, I'm saved. But you never pick up your Bible, you never study. If somebody asks you something about Acts or Genesis, you don't know. You understand? How are you going to grow in terms of in terms of what you believe? How are you going
Okay.
to elevate in your belief? How are you going to you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
gotta right. So you gotta put in the work, not for the salvation, but for the edifying of the like. Why did you turn a Christian? So that just you alone can be saved? You now have to go and study to show yourself approved so that you can, minister to somebody else. And the more you put into it and the more you study what you're into, is the more you're able to have conversation and point certain scriptures out or, help a brother out that don't understand.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's
Yes,
all I'm saying.
yes. You see what I appreciate when you come on the live. Your contribution is so
Yeah,
invaluable. I can't
Eric
tell you.
says exactly.
All right. Eric says so. You must give all to God, believing in faith. Okay. All right. So we can continue now.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay. We are now on to verse verse 8. And God is able to make all grace abound towards you, that ye, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. As it is written, He hath dispersed abroad, He hath given to the poor, His righteousness remains forever. Now he that ministers seed to the sower both minister bread for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness, being enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which causeth through us thanksgiving to God. For the
Is it what you
ah,
increase the fruit of your righteousness? Increase the fruits of your righteousness. What do you think about that? What do you think about that statement?
hold on. Now he that ministers seed to the sower, both ministers bread for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness. He's saying the same entity that is responsible for um, the yield of your seeds is the same
Right.
entity that is responsible for your righteousness, your
Fruits of your
spirituality,
righteousness. Not your righteousness, but the
your
fruits of it.
explain that for me. Andrea, what's up? Good morning. How you doing, my love? Delve into that a little bit for me, Card. You say,
Okay. James says faith without works is dead.
mm-hmm,
So having faith and not doing anything with it is kind of counterintuitive to everything. Like,
mm-hmm,
why do you get saved? Just for you to get saved? No. Now that you have the now that you have the knowledge and the wisdom, you continue moving, as you say, from faith to faith, higher and higher up,
mm-hmm.
so that you can bring up a brother or help a sister or minister to somebody. So that would be the fruits of your righteousness.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay, that sounds like soul gathering you're talking about then?
Well, yeah. That's the fruits of your righteousness.
Okay. So that's what Paul
Yeah.
was talking about.
Mhm.
Okay.
This
Let
is
us
why you
con
edify yourself, and this is why you put more into it, so that you can now, go out there and win souls.
All right, that's it. Can we continue?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Being enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which causeth through us thanksgiving to God. For the administration of this service not only supplies the want of the saints, but is abundant also by many thanksgivings unto God. Whilst by the experiment of this ministration they glorify God for your professed subjection unto the gospel of Christ, and for your liberal distribution unto them and unto all men. And by their prayer for you, which long after you, for the exceeding grace of God in you. Thanks be unto God for his unspeakable gift. All right, that is the end of Second Corinthians chapter 9. Andrea, good morning to you. Good morning to the people on the top. Good morning to the people on the tube. Welcome into the morning live where we read the Bible each morning. For those of you just coming, when we read the Bible over here, it's not with any particular conviction or any intent to convict, condemn, or convert anybody. We are simply fulfilling this desire to read the Bible from beginning to end objectively so that we can get the context of what the Bible is about, who is talking, who they're talking to, and we can also understand it for ourselves. Okay. Thanks, Kathy. Good morning, Andrea. It's been a long time. Yeah, a long time, because a long time not come, right? So we are going to move on to Second Corinthians chapter 10. Now I, Paul. So, she said, oh no, no, say Paul talking, He says, so I, Bonafide says, kindness, love, patience, honesty, gentleness, self-control, diligence are all fruits of, are all fruits of righteousness. Ain't that so nice? Wanna hear that? Let me read it again for you know. Bonafide says, kindness, love, patience, honesty, kindness, self-control, diligence are all fruits of righteousness. Thank you so much for that, my love. Let us continue. Chapter 10 of the 2nd Corinthians. Now I, Paul, myself, beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of Christ, who in presence am based among you, but being absent am bold towards you. Okay? When he comes before his people, before the people to preach, he comes with much gentleness. But behind them, when he's outside of their presence, he speaks for them. He advocates for them, for this religion. So he speaks boldly with knowledge, with understanding that he's in alignment with them and whatever it is that they believe. Because remember, right here, there is a big conflict because the people who believe Paul's teachings, they are being persecuted by the others who don't believe Paul's teachings. So when Paul comes to preach and teach and speak to the people who are following the doctrine that he is preaching, he understands the persecution they face. So he's telling them, like, when I'm with you, you see this gentleness that I come with, this is not the gentleness I have when I'm outside, because I got to be fighting tooth and nail for you to be able to come into this synagogue on the Sabbath and have your worship and not be bothered, not worried about somebody coming in here and breaking up everything and knocking everybody over. And I have to be fighting boldly.
That's a great revelation.
Outside of here. What you say, Cad?
I said that's a great revelation. You're right.
Okay. Yeah, because if you all... Yes.
There's never a day without fight for Paul.
Exactly. He's fighting day and night. Now, y'all remember when he told the people that he brought Titus? Because Titus is supposed to be the security guard, the protector. Titus's presence is quite intimidating. So he brought Titus along so the people can feel comfortable in coming out to accept him and to not be afraid that somebody is going to see them following Paul's teachings, because they're afraid that after Paul leaves, they might be persecuted. Somebody might come knock them down in their house or something, because they say, oh, I saw you following that man. That means that you are no longer following the teachings of Moses that has been the bedrock of our society. So the people were concerned for their safety. I remember he said he brought Titus as their protector. But here he's telling them that, hey, Piotr, how you doing? Piotr from Poland. Here he's telling the people that when he's in their presence, he's meek and mild. But when he's outside of their presence, he's fighting tooth and nail for them to be able to continue worshiping how they want to without fear of persecution. All right? Good morning, Peugeot. Peugeot said, good morning. Who are these guys? Which guys you talking about, Peugeot? Let us continue. Morning, my friend Piotr from Poland. How are you doing? Good morning to you. Welcome. It's good to see you. Svetlana. Good morning, Svetlana. How are ya? Let us continue, guys. We're going to read start verse 10 again. Oh, the guys I'm talking about. It's it it's the Bible I'm reading, my love. It's in the Second Corinthians. That those are the guys we're talking about. Now I, Paul, myself, beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of Christ, who in presence am based among you, but being absent am bold towards you. Morning, Sister Winsome, how you doing? But I beseech you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence, wherewith I think to be bold against some, which think of us as if we walked according to the flesh. All right, you see, same thing I was talking about. Let us continue. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought of the obedience of Christ, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Hi, Tasha, how you doing? Somebody say where are I am at 2 Corinthians chapter 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 5. Follow along, follow along. You got it, Winsome? All right, let us continue. Verse 6 says, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? Do you look at things? Do you look at things and judge it by its outward appearance? If any man trust himself that he is Christ, not that he is Christ, but that he belongs to Christ. That's an apostrophe S there. That means belongs to. If any man trust himself that he belongs to Christ, let him of himself think this again, that as he belongs to Christ, even so are we Christ's possession. If just to make it clear what it's saying here in the Bible. Christ as in the possession, Christ with an apostrophe S, okay, meaning the owner of, like Trev's live, right? This is Trev's live. That's the same way it's talking in the Bible with the apostrophe S in Christ, okay? So let me read verse 7 again. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? If any man trust himself that he is Christ, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Christ, even so are we Christ. For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, which the Lord hath given us for edification, and not for your destruction, I should not be ashamed. All right? So there, Paul is saying that, anybody who says that they belong to Christ, they got to know that we also belong to him. And even though I have been given this authority by him to teach you, it is for edification. It is not for destruction, and he's not ashamed. he's not ashamed about what he's doing. Hey Gina, what's up? That I may, verse 9 says, that I may not seem as if I would terrify you in my letters. This is Paul's letter to the Corinthians, guys. He wants them to know that by them accepting this gospel that he has brought to them, it shouldn't be out of fear. And he wants them to be comfortable knowing that even when he's not in their presence, he hasn't forgotten about them. He understands the plight that they are in when he's not there, even when he's not there. And so even in the background, he's working to ensure their safety, to ensure that they're able to continue with their religion even when he's not there. Because God, why to me it seems like when Paul is actually physically there, he's like an intimidating presence. So the people feel comfortable. But when he's not there, he's worried that they may not even be bothered with going into the synagogue on the Sabbath because they are so worried that they might be persecuted. Do you get that feeling, or is it just me? He's trying to make...
No, and that's why he did say he sent that intimidating force in Titus to actually look out for them. And as he just rightfully said, he's not there to intimidate them into believing. So that would make the theory null and void, what we were talking about a couple of days ago, of him, preaching or intimidating his followers into believing. It wasn't that. It was what we cleared up after.
It is okay not to intimidate them into believing, but to protect them after they have accepted his teachings.
Yeah.
Okay. AG, what's up? Good morning. How are you doing? Good to see you, my love.
Look, Eric says as a shepherd. Exactly.
Yes. All right. So you all are following. I like that. Let us continue. I don't know helping me out, because guys, remember saying, no, it's not no, I don't know anything. I'm just reading it. Trying to understand it. So I appreciate your contribution to the chat. He says that I may not seem as if I would terrify you by letters. For his letters, say they, are weighty and powerful, but his bodily oh my Lord, see the same thing I was saying, I didn't even read it beforehand, For his letters, say they, are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak, and his speech contemptible. Who is that his they're talking about? Who is that they're talking about, Cad? Well, Eric there. Eric, well, legend. Which is that? Because me kind of lost get here. Because I think Paul is talking, but Paul saying his. His who? For his letters, they say, are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak and his speech contemptible. Is he talking about himself?
I think so.
It seems like he's talking about himself, because he's writing and he did say he's the one speaking. So it looks like he's talking about himself. He's sort of mocking himself like, oh yeah, well...
He's saying that that's what they say.
That's what they say about him. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Eric say yes. Okay. All right. So we're on the right path here. Let such as one think, verse 11 says, let such a one think this, that such as we are in word by letters when we are absent, such will we be also in deed when we are present. For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves, and comparing themselves amongst themselves, are not wise. But we will not boast of things without our measure, but according to the measure of the rule which God hath distributed to us, a measure to reach even unto us, even unto you. For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reached not unto you. For we are come as far as to you, also in preaching the gospel of Christ, not boasting of things without our measure. How much time am I going to say that? Not boasting of things without our measure, that is, of our men's labors, but having hope, when your faith is increased, that we shall be enlarged by you according to our rule abundantly, to preach the gospel in the regions beyond you, and not to boast in another man's line of things made ready to our hand. Morning, Leonardo. But he that glories, let him glory in the Lord. For not he that commends himself is approved, but whom the Lord commends. Yeah. I remember there was say, you ever heard the term say self-praise is no recommendation? I never hear that. I used to hear that a lot when I was growing up. Self-praise is no recommendation. I guess this is what Paul is saying here. He that glories, let him glory in the Lord. For not he that recommends himself is approved, but he that is recommended by the Lord. All right. That's the Bible. All right. So not he that recommends himself, but he who the Lord recommends. All right. Is worthy of a recommendation. Leonardo Felix de Lima Jr., how are you doing? Good morning. Good morning, Ross. I see you. Good morning, Kayla. How are you doing? We are going to move right along into 2 Corinthians chapter 11. Yeah, we are finishing with 2 Corinthians today because tomorrow Sunday, we're going to start with Galatians because the epistle of Paul continues. You know, Paul wrote all of this. All of this here is Paul, you know. All of the Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. Yeah, so we are going to continue reading it. Thessalonians, Timothy. Paul wrote everything. Titus, the Hebrew. Oh, wow. Okay. So we got a lot to read. We got a lot to unpack with Paul here. All right. So let us continue. Those of you who are here, welcome into the live. Thank you so much for coming. If you are just coming, if you're just discovering the live, please be aware that when you come over here, this is not your usual Bible live where there is somebody on the other side of this who is determined to get your soul, who is determined to convert you one way or the other. We are not doing any conversion or conviction or condemnation over here. All right, we're simply reading the Bible for ourselves because I'm interested in knowing.
In your righteousness.
Where is it, God? Where is it? Say that again. Me never hear you.
Not being fruitful in your righteousness.
Exactly. Yes, we're winning our souls over here. We're not being fruitful in the righteousness over here, okay? But you are welcome to come in and you are welcome to share your thoughts based on the context of what we are reading. Just don't do it disrespectfully, all right? Well, we're going to move right along into 2 Corinthians chapter 11. Gina, good morning. Thank you for the share. Thank you for the like. I appreciate that. We are going to move right along. Those of you over there on the tube, if you tap your screen, it will register your like for the live. I appreciate you. All right, chapter 11 of the Second Corinthians. Would to God he would bear with me a little in my folly, and indeed bear with me, for I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ. So when he talk about this one husband, he's talking about Christ. It's not a literal husband. And he's presenting the people. He's saying he's presenting the people to Christ as virgins, wholesome, not having been defiled as yet. When I read these things, I kind of, all right, think about, you think about presenting yourself. All right, we're not going to talk about that. But anyway, Cad, let's just leave that. Let us leave that right there, Let's leave that alone right there. But he says he feels as though presenting the people to Christ is like presenting a virgin to her husband. All right? But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. That's a comparison there. You got anything to say about that, Cad? I could mute our mic. Where is Eric? Eric, you got anything to say about that? Let me read that again. Would to God he could bear with me a little in my folly, and indeed bear with me. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ. For I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. For if he that comes preaches another Jesus, whom we have not preached, or if he received another spirit, which ye have not received, or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, he might well bear with me. Miss Thing, good morning, my love. How are you doing? Good to see you. All right, so Eric says, where did Lucifer go? The church is the bride of Christ. Right, so that explains what Paul is saying here. He presents this church, these new converts, he presents Christ to them as a wife would be presented to her husband. So you are right. All is well with me, my love, Miss Thing. As long as I am awake, I am all right. Everything else, yeah. Yes, as long as I'm alive, everything else can come afterwards. Okay? Let's move on. Verse 5 says, for I suppose I was not a whit behind the very chiefest apostles. But though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge. Though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge. But we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things. Have I committed any offense in abasing myself, that he might be exalted? Because I have preached to you the gospel of God freely? I robbed other churches, taking wages of them to do your service. Make me read that again. Verse 7. Have I committed an offense in abasing myself? You know what abasing means, like lowering yourself, okay? Like how they say, he that exalted himself shall be abased. Yeah. shall be embarrassed, insulted, and all the other synonyms that can go along with that. Have I committed an offense in abasing myself that he might be exalted? Because I have preached to you the gospel of God freely? I robbed other churches, taking wages of them to do you service. And when I was present with you and wanted, I was chargeable to no man. For that which was lacking to me, the brethren which came from Macedonia supplied. And in all things I have kept myself from being burdensome unto you, and so will I keep myself. Hold on, because that not sound spiritual. Hold on, the card. Because that not sound spiritual. Did he really? Did you hear what he just said? Let me read again from.
What are you getting from that?
Did he? Or is he saying that he has taken the tithe or the financial contributions from other places? Remember, he was traveling around. He had gone to Greece. He had gone to Italy. He had been traveling around. So now that he is here at the
you just read it in the verse.
At the Corinth, he says that he has robbed the other churches so that he could come present this to these people. Am I understanding that because it can't be the gospel he took from them to bring here? So it sounds kind of literal to me that he has whatever resources he has had to help the people in the Corinth are resources that he has taken from the other places he has been.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. Why does he word it as having robbed? Deacon.
Well, it might be the translation might not have used the right word.
You have a point. That could be true. Because he said, as the truth of Christ is in me, no man shall no, not yet. And when I was present with you and wanted, I was chargeable to no man. For that which was lacking to me, the brethren which came from Macedonia supplied. And in all things I have kept myself from being burdensome unto you, and so will I keep myself. So is he saying that when he comes to the people of Corinth, he comes with everything he needs, and anything that he does not have, the people that he has brought with him from Macedonia, they will provide. But he has not come as a burden to these poor people over there in the Corinth.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Now I get it.
Yes.
Now I get it.
What do mix up, Barry? Me not deacon. Deacon is a man.
Oh. Listen, don't misgender my sister Barry. Barry, good morning. How you doing, my love?
Good morning, Barry.
How are you? I'm not even hearing. You must be muting my. All right, so make us continue. We are on to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, gentle people. No, 2 Corinthians chapter 11. What may I say? 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 10.
11.
Yeah, 11 and verse 10. As the truth of Christ is in me, no man shall stop me of this boasting in the regions of Achaia. Wherefore? Because I love you not, God knoweth. But what I do, that I will do, that I may cut off occasion from them which desire occasion, that wherein they glory, they may be found even as we. Eric said, Jesus stole the corn in the cornfield to feed it. He never thief no corn. Eric said Jesus did thief the corn in the cornfield to feed the disciples. No, sir. I,
Eric, the earth, the Lord, and the fullness thereof, and all that dwells in it.
in it belongs to him. No, he never thief the corn. He did permit the disciples to eat the corn on the Sabbath day, even though the Pharisees and Sadducees, whoever the opposers of Jesus' gospel, were upset that he allowed the disciples to pick the corn on the Sabbath day, because according to Moses, you don't dare go out in your field, go pick nothing on the Sabbath day. Your cow drop down in our hole, you can't go out there go take him out on the Sabbath day because it's Sabbath. You know, if you go take him out. Jesus said that's nonsense. Take out the cow out of the field. Be practical. Take out the cow out of the hole, because tomorrow you're going to need the cow to plow your field. Now, if you leave the cow in the hole on the Sabbath and the cow dead, tomorrow, what you going to use tomorrow to plow your field? And you're going to need that big ox. So you have to be practical. So when it comes to the corn, that was the same principle that applied. When you say, the people them hungry, you are going to be hungry, and because of Sabbath, you're going to say you're not going to eat. And look how much corn there around. Look how much corn there around. Pick the corn, eat the corn, full your belly, and let's move right along. That not stop nothing at all. Which was unlawful. That was considered.
You meet the heaven.
Yes.
And
It was no, it was unlawful per Moses' law. It was not a principle of theft that was being applied there. It was the principle of disobeying the Sabbath. That's what the story was about when Jesus told the disciples it was okay to pick the corn on the Sabbath. It wasn't addressing theft at all. Because we're not saying Jesus was stealing corn. It wasn't considered theft. Everybody corn was everywhere. You know. They were stealing. He wasn't stealing it. The men were hungry. And they were permitted by him to pick the corn, eat the corn. Because normally they would not. They wouldn't pick it because of Sabbath. They would have rather die of hunger rather than pick the Sabbath. They would not pick the corn. Jesus said that's nonsense. You can't sustain yourself as you continue on your journey. Right. So it wasn't theft that was being addressed in that scenario. Where is it, card?
I have a question for Eric then.
Mm-hmm. Our card gone. Card. Gotcha.
Yes, to steal the donkey.
Oh, me not hear your card. Why you go in and out? Why you cut out? Because I didn't hear a thing you said in the beginning.
Hearing me now?
Me hear you when you say, are you hearing me now? Me don't know, something wrong with your connection. Go on, talk.
Can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you perfectly right now.
Okay, so I'm asking Eric. I guess he steal the stole the donkey that he sent the guys to go get so that he can ride.
Me not hear you.
Remember?
You keep cutting in and out. You keep cutting in and out. So we only hearing you like we hear 2 words and then we don't hear nothing again. And I'm wondering if you pause and then you start talking again and realize you didn't pause.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you. No man sat on the donkey.
I'm saying, so I guess he stole the donkey.
Me no know. It look like Kada figure up out and up in back and see if the connection gets better. Oh, you heard her. Oh, me no hear. Eric say he heard you, but I didn't. We are gonna wait to see if he could come back, come tell us exactly. Cause me not hearing. It's going in and out. So I'm hearing her in pieces. And I want to hear all that she has to say, because God always have some great contributions to the chat. You're coming back, God? Before we move on. Oh, Minister. We can hear both of you. But, oh, my picture is frozen. Really? How come? Maybe my internet are act up. Maybe on my internet then. Oh. All right, then. If you all can hear her, that is fine. Maybe it's really my internet that is acting like that. Oh, yeah, see, Winsome says she not hear either. It's in and out. Because Winsome, you are hearing what I am hearing. God! I see God is trying to come in, but it is spinning and spinning and spinning. All right, we're gonna continue reading. We are going to continue reading. We are on to 2 Corinthians chapter 11, guys. Let us continue. Verse 7 said, "Have I committed an offense in abasing myself, that he may be exalted, because I have preached to you the gospel of Christ freely? I robbed other churches, taking wages of them to do your service. And when I was present with you and wanted, I was chargeable to no man. For that which was lacking to me, the brethren which came from Macedonia supplied. And in all things I have kept myself from being burdensome unto you, and so will I keep myself. As the truth of Christ is in me, no man shall stop me of this boasting in the regions of Achaia. Wherefore, because I love you not, God knoweth. But what I do, that I will do, that I may cut off occasion from them which desire occasion, that wherein they glory, they may be found even as we. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ." Renata, how are you doing? Good morning. Hold on, let me hit that again. Let me see why that is. All right. Let's see if God is able to come up this time. That's the same thing I was saying with some, that why he said he robbed other churches. God says it may have been the interpretation, not meaning that he robbed, but maybe from the translation and retranslation of the Bible, it came out that way, that he robbed other churches. And though that possibility could be true, it also leaves me wondering if that's what he meant, really. That he robbed the other churches, taking wages from them. Did he take the contributions from the other churches and bring it over? It would be like, for those of you who like grow up in the church, grow up in any denomination. If you grew up in a church, you always notice that the church is always having intentions. The church, hello Facet, how you doing? The church always have an intention to reach people who are in, say, very, very rural areas. So, say for example, you are in one spot. This church has been in this particular location for a long time. The people who come to this church travel for miles and miles and miles every time they have to come to church. So the church would want to do some outreach to get to the community from which these members travel, to set up a church over there so that their members don't have to travel this far to come to church. So I think this is what Paul is doing. From the mother churches, the bigger churches that have already been established, this is my interpretation, that have already been established, they have lots of members, they have lots of surplus. He can take from those churches to go help to start these new congregations that he's starting to develop over there in the Corinth. And I think that's why he said he has robbed from the other churches to bring over here to the Corinth to get their church off the ground. If you think different, you can share with me, but that's just my interpretation. I guess that's why he used the word robbed, but not in the meaning of stick it up, don't move. Okay? Fast Eddie, good morning, how you doing? Have yourself a good day, my love. That's how I interpreted Winsome. Okay? Let us continue. Okay, Kat agree with me. Oh, all right. If Kat agree, we agree. Let us continue. Verse 14 says, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's go back here. Let's see how Satan came into the conversation so swift, fast, and in a hurry. But let's read from verse 12. But what I do, that I will do, that I may cut off occasion from them which desire occasion, that wherein they glory, they may be found even as we. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. So he's warning the people about others who may be coming to preach, that claim they are preaching this gospel of Christ. They are transforming themselves into preachers so that they can deceive the people. And he goes on to say, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministries also be transformed as the ministries of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. I say again, let no man think me a fool. If otherwise, yet as a fool receive me, that I may boast myself a little. That which I speak it not after the Lord, but as it were foolishly, in this confidence of boasting. Let's do that again. That which I speak it not after the Lord. That means it's not the Lord tell him to say this, but as it were foolishly, in this confidence of boasting. Seeing that many me I mark this today, you know. Him not say it, and the Lord tell him to say it, him just say to him a boast. Yeah, it's just a boastful utterance. Let us continue. Seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also. No, don't forget it's Paul talking, you know. Christopher George, Christopher, hit the like button. Please. Hey Kush, how are you doing? Good morning. Welcome. Let us continue. Seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also. For he suffer fools gladly, seeing ye yourselves are wise. For ye suffer. If a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man takes from you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face, I speak as concerning reproach, as though we have been weak. Howbeit, whereinsoever any is bold, I speak foolishly. I am bold also. Paul can I joke out the thing right or so. Kush said, love, grace, peace, and joy in Jesus' name. Okay, Kush. Let us continue. Verse 22 of chapter 11. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. And right there you see, Paul is saying, whatever they want me to be, I will be. They want if, if, if they want to think I'm an Hebrew, I will. You say, yeah, like an Hebrew. You want to say, I think I'm an Israelite? Yeah, I look like an Israelite. I'm not sure why he's doing this so mockingly. I am not sure what he means or how much righteousness is in this right here. I'm not sure. So Kush says, do you do interactive streams with others on your channel? Yes, I do. I do interactive streams. I do interactive streams, Kush, but when I'm double streaming, I can't do interactive streams because I'm going to end up with people talking over here on the tube and people talking over here on the talk. So it's one or the other, but it can't be both when I'm double streaming. Okay? So if you want to add something to this to the live stream at this time, you can always if you are logged into TikTok, you can always come on over. Okay? All right, Cad, you're back, my love. Talk to me. Tell me what are your views on what we just read?
Okay, read what
Read
you
it.
think Paul is mocking.
Read it again. All right, I'm gonna read again from verse 19. For he suffer fools gladly, seeing ye yourselves are wise. For he suffer. If a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face, I speak as concerning reproach, as though we had been weak. Howbeit, whereinsoever any is bold, I speak foolishly. I am bold also. Are they Hebrews? And he's talking about, you know, hypothetically, if he's interacting with someone who is an Hebrew, he said, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they descendants of Abraham? So am I. And are they ministers of Christ? And he puts in bracket here, I speak as a fool. He says, I am more. In labors more abundantly, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequently, in death of. God, what you got to say about that?
being a Hebrew, an Israelite, a seed of Abraham, it's all under the one umbrella. The only thing he's missing is am I of the circumcision? It's all one. All that is under the Jewish umbrella.
All that is under the what?
The Jewish umbrella.
Kush said this has to do with his apostolic authority. That he does have. He does have that apostolic authority. I mean, to edify the people. But what are you saying about the circumcision card?
I said the only thing that's missing from there would be like how they say some is circumcised and some is uncircumcised. If you can call Jewish people of the circumcision, you can call them as Hebrews, you can call them as Israelites, you can call them seed of Abraham. It's all the same text.
But he said he was saying this foolishly, as though to lead me to believe that he was not. But wasn't Paul a Roman? Paul was a Roman. Paul was from Italy initially.
He was a Roman citizen. He was a Roman citizen, but he was of the tribe of Benjamin.
Was he?
So he was Jewish. He wasn't Israelite. Yeah.
Really? Well, we can't find that. Direct me to that. Because in my mind, based on what I have read and what I have retained, that part missed me. And see, he was from the tribe of Benjamin, was he? I thought he was totally Italian who had traveled over there to Jerusalem, but not being associated with the gospel until he was struck down on Damascus Road. I don't remember having read, but I'm sure you are more read in this Bible than I am. So
Philippians 3.
Oh, you have gone ahead.
See what no,
he was.
Yes, he was a Roman citizen.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Roman citizen, but he was of the tribe of
He was of the tribe of Benjamin?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, guys, I didn't know that at all. I don't remember having read that he was a Jew at all. I forgot to look it up.
I'm gonna do some research. You continue reading.
Yeah, all right. We're going to continue reading, and we are going to look that up and then see, because I was not aware that he had anything to do with the Jews, considering the might of his persecution of them when he was in Jerusalem, being judge, juror, and executioner of the people who accepted Jesus' gospel, and him having said that he had come there from Italy. I was not aware that he was, but it could have been that he was a descendant who had taken up residence in Italy and then had come back to Jerusalem, maybe just to take the job of being the persecutor of the Jews. I don't know, could be. But let us continue. Paul was the apostle of the Gentiles. What is it called?
Philippians chapter 3.
Philippians. Oh, let me find Philippians now. Either right around here, so I know. Galatians, Ephesians. Hold on. Philippians. There are just Philippians what? Where Paul there?
3 and around like verse 4 or so.
All right. Philippians chapter 3 says, let me see. From the beginning says, finally, my brethren, rejoice in the Lord. To write the same things to you, to me indeed is not grievous, but for you it is safe. Beware of dogs, beware of evil workers, beware of concision, For we are the circumcision, which worship Christ in the Spirit, and rejoice in Christ Jesus.
Here it is. Now he mentioned the circumcision. You see what I said?
Yeah,
It's all under, under the Jewish umbrella.
but if the circumcision can also be taken as the believers, as opposed to the uncircumcised, meaning the unbelievers,
Right.
why would the circumcision determine whether or not he was a descendant of Benjamin?
No, no, no. That doesn't prove that. I'm just saying that the word circumcision was missing out of the list that you just read.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But now he is now calling himself from the circumcision.
Okay. Okay.
Continue reading. Yeah.
Okay. And he says, though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man thinks that he hath whereof he might trust in the flesh, I think so more. And he went on to talk about the circumcised, meaning the 8-day circumcision, which would be different from a spiritual circumcision. Somebody said, Kush said he mentioned this in his second letter in Corinthians. The circumcision of the 8-day circumcision is not of the heart. When he talks about the 8-day circumcision is the literal circumcision. The circumcision of the heart, though, is the would have been the religious circumcision. All right, so let us continue. Talk.
Verse 4 yet?
Ah.
Are you up to verse 4 in Philippians?
Yeah, I just read verse 4 that says, though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man thinks that he hath whereof he might trust in the flesh, I more. And then he went on to talk about circumcise the eighth day of the stock. Oh, he says he's of the stock of Israel. He was circumcised on the 8th day. So he was indeed circumcised. Let me continue. Let me not jump to conclusion too quickly. Circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin. Oh, an Hebrew of the Hebrews, as touching the law, a Pharisees, concerning zeal, persecuting the church, touching the righteousness which is in the law, blameless. But what things were gain to me, those I counted loss for Christ. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ. So he's saying that he's of the tribe of Benjamin. He's a true Israelite. He has been circumcised the 8th day, the whole shebang, the whole 9 yard. But he could lose all of that just to win, just for a win with Christ.
Yeah. So what he's saying is that he's telling them all of these things, but to him, he is like boasting of himself, telling them, well, you think that you are from you are Jewish and you are of the tribe of Israel and all of that. I am that also. So when he speaks like that, he said he speaks like a fool because he's not supposed to be, talking all arrogant and stuff like that.
Oh.
So he's telling, and this here is actually warming up to Galatians that he's really going to tell them off.
Oh. So you see that's good there, because I was of the impression that he was a Roman who had come in to Jerusalem. People travel around. So he had taken up residence in Jerusalem, and he was, as he was for real, the judge, juror, and executioner of the people who had accepted the gospel. Then he was struck down on the way to Damascus, and eventually he became the preacher and the teacher of the same gospel that he was trying to eradicate. So I thought that he was just this loner from elsewhere. I was not, you see, while reading is
Yes.
good and learning is greater. Yeah, because I didn't know. I didn't know that he was a descendant of he was a descendant of Israel. I didn't know that. But boy, I tell you, you see why it's good to read. That's why I told you all when I first came here. I've been telling you as we have been doing this that I come here with all my vulnerability of not knowing and being willing to flub and blob and make mistakes and not know right here or right out here in the open, because it is from there that we are going to learn, and it is from there that we are going to grow. So I'm not afraid. You all may be afraid to be wrong in the public's eye. I'm not afraid to be wrong, because if I'm wrong, I stand corrected. And I'm not ashamed to be
Yeah.
corrected.
And you
Okay?
see what Eric says?
Eh?
Eric says Eric says that he was apostle of the Gentile. That is true in Romans, I think 11:11.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Jesus Christ left in Matthew maybe 28, like the last chapter, and before Jesus ascended to heaven, he told the 12 that was following him, now go therefore into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. First in Matthew 10, when he sent them out, and told them not to go into the way of the Gentiles.
Right. And
Right?
anybody's house, they go into that to find
Go
out
to the lost
first.
sheep of the household of Israel.
Uh-huh.
Right? Well, that was before he went to the cross. When he went to the cross now, the veil has been rented. The partition between Jew and Gentile is now ripped apart, and now everybody has, whosoever will may come. So this is no more Jew and Gentile and Greek and whatever. Whoever believe in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ shall be saved. So now them walking with Jesus Christ for over 3 years, that's the 12 disciples. When Jesus left and tell them to go spread the gospel all around, 7 years after, they're still only going to Jews only. So Jesus met Paul on the road to Damascus and chose this man to go to the Gentiles, because they still were not going to the Gentiles. And I'm going to prove my point when you start reading Galatians.
Oh, them are disobedient pitney.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're putting up a whole resistance against Paul and his teaching. Why are you going and carry this gospel to these people? This gospel belongs to us.
Oh,
So
them are
that's why-
gatekeep. They were gatekeeping the gospel, huh?
So this is why he's telling them that you guys there who think you're something, I am all of what you are. You say you're Jewish, I'm Jewish too. You said you're this, I'm that too. What was given to me clearly wasn't given to you, or it was given to them, but they're not doing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Nolan?
Like I said, when you
Morning.
now get to Galatians, which is the next book, you will see it as clear as day, exactly what I'm telling you, because he's going to tell them off like a street brawl.
Uh-oh. All right. All right. Let us continue. Let us continue. Paul is really showing himself off these days. Let us continue, people. Where were we? We were over here, verse 23 of chapter 11 of the book of 2 Corinthians. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more. In labors more abundantly. In stripes above measure. In prison more frequent. In death oft. Of the Jews, of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Okay, so is he saying 5 times did the Jews whip him
39.
when they
That's where you get it.
when they had beaten him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So 5 times they whipped him. 6 times them arrest him, but 5 times them whip him with 40 stripes. Only 1 time they didn't.
No.
And that he must say, what am I say?
He said 40 stripes less one. So I don't know if you remember.
No, he said save one. He says, of the Jews,
Right.
5 times he received 40 stripes, save one. My interpretation of that is that only 1 time that he was arrested, that he didn't get whipped with the 40 stripes.
Well, you might be right, but the interpretation of the rest of the world is that he received 39 stripes. That's why when back then in I don't know if you remember the punishment of cat nine tail. They used to take the cat nine tail and beat the prisoners with it. They give them 39 stripes. That's where that comes from.
Oh well, you know, I am having a different interpretation of this based on what I have read. It says, of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. And my interpretation of that, because he had been arrested so many times, he had been arrested and beaten so many times, I think he's saying that it was only 1 time that he was arrested that he was not beaten. But every other time, the other 5 times he was arrested, he was given 40 stripes. All right,
I fully understand what you're saying, but I'm saying how
everybody else has believed. Okay. So I never know nothing about the 39 stripes before. Me never hear nothing about the 39 stripes. I know about the cat o' nine where they whip people with that cat o' nine. I've heard of that, but I never heard that it had anything. It had any biblical connection. Let me say, I didn't know it had any biblical connection. But my interpretation here of what Paul has said is that he was arrested these many times. This would be like he was arrested 6 times, but 5 out of the 6 times he was whipped with 40 stripes. All right, if you don't want to debunk my analysis of this, you all can. You all are welcome. Just tell me where to find the 39. Because he never say, where does the card?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh.
It just said 40 stripes, save one. That's all.
Yes. He says, of the Jews, 5 times. It wasn't the stripes that is the save one. It's the 5 times. He says, of the Jews, 5 times receive I 40 stripes. Save one. Say 1 time, you never get the 40 stripes. That's my interpretation. All right. I'm going to mark this because we are going to, that's something where we are go. Yeah, that's one of the controversy. Let us move on. Verse 25 says, 3 times was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. 3 times I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep. Does that make what I just said make any more sense? All right, make we continue. I'm going to read that again. I'm going to read it without stopping so we can follow the thought. Of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. 3 times was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. 3 times I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day I have been in the deep. In journeyings often, in perils of waters, in perils of robbers, in perils by mine own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils amongst false brethren, in weariness and painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness, beside those things that are without, beside those things that are without, that which comes upon me daily, the care of all the churches. And what Paul say? What Eric say? You wouldn't have passed the test to be a centurion. Like, seriously? Like, seriously? I would not pass the test to be a centurion. That is fine with me. That would be perfectly fine with me. Let us continue. Who is weak? Who is weak? And I am not weak? Who is offended? And I burn not? If I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. You see, the thing is, Eric, when literature presents itself with ambiguity, there is no one who can say that their interpretation is superior to the others. Because if this scripture had not presented with ambiguity, there is no way that we could have different interpretations of it. Okay? And that is one of my points, really, when I talk about us reading the Bible and understanding what is written. Oftentimes, we do not all agree. And it is with that disagreement, it's that disagreement that has led to so many denominations in the one Christianity that everybody follows the one book. Yet, they have different interpretations of it, and acting on those different interpretations, them have them different denominations. You see how many denominations? And every denomination swear that they are right, and their interpretation of the Bible is the right interpretation, and everybody else is wrong. Okay, so I know me one that wouldn't be one centurion, it would not be me alone. And I could say the same thing about you and the others. Hey. And I have absolutely no desire to travel this earth as a sheep, just following along. That's why I say you got to read for yourself. You understand? You got to read for yourself. And this is the one book of me have, this is the book of me read. Kush said read concordant translation. You see, that is the thing too, Kush. Everybody have their own interpretation. Everybody have theirs, the ones that they like better. Everybody have the ones that they like better. The King James Version is the one that I grew up reading. I agree that sometimes it does present itself with some confusing text. And some of you read some other version, New International Version, some other versions you all read that makes it better understood by you. But whichever one you read, I think your understanding of it is not specific to you. Or is it? Why I say correct? The Spirit gives interpretation. Mr. Price said the Spirit.
Understand what that has to do with being a centurion.
Me no get Paul, Eric, no, they send me to get you know. Me no, I guess because my interpretation and the rest of y'all's interpretation is not the same.
But a centurion.
I think he's just making a joke about it.
A centurion is just a ruler that has been placed over more than 100 people.
But didn't they have to have some kind of qualifications for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess that's what he's talking about. And Eric say the spirit gives interpretation. Well, you see, that is a rather interesting thing to say. The spirit gives interpretation. So are you telling me that all of them church and all of these churches, the spirit not give them no interpretation yet? Because if the spirit was giving them interpretation, I am going to say that the spirit would give everybody the same interpretation. Everybody the the right interpretation if it was from the spirit. The same interpretation from the spirit would be given to everybody, right? And everybody would have that who have had that same interpretation would act accordingly. So why all of these denominations have their different interpretations? You're telling me that they're not being led by the spirit as they all claim? Talk to me. Talk to me. Because if it is the spirit giving everybody interpretation, then I wouldn't think that the spirit would be giving everybody a different interpretation. It would be one interpretation
If
that remain
everyone was
constant.
receiving the interpretation from one spirit, then everybody would have been on one accord.
Oh, everybody would have been on one accord. That's what I say.
So they're definitely been receiving interpretation from a different spirit.
Clearly. Clearly. Because everybody have their own you say it was no, I know it was a joke you were making, Eric. I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured. Based on the temperature in the room, I realized that it was a joke. But you say, according to Roman law, when judgment was passed, 39 stripe was given. Yes, and I guess it's because of their interpretation of this statement right here. And
That's what I'm saying.
yes, and my interpretation, based on the words that I'm reading on the page, says differently. Yeah, my interpretation. He says, of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. That says to me that only one time he wasn't beaten with 40 stripes. Only one. That's my interpretation. And you see, you can't say me not understand when me read, because you have already accepted that 39 as the number that he is referring to here, and I do not accept that he meant that he received 39 stripes. Did Paul say anywhere else that he got 39 stripes? That would debunk my interpretation of chapter 11 verse 24. You have to lead me to that so that I can dismiss from my mind this interpretation. But until then, may I hold on to my interpretation, because it says, of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. One time, that's what that says to me. One time. Of all the times that he was arrested, one time, them never did give him 40 stripes. Yeah.
Isaiah 53:5.
All right. One second, I go forward me with something now. Where you say Isaiah?
53:5.
Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53, verse 5. Isaiah 53, verse 5 says, but he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with
That
his
might not be it.
and with his stripes we are healed.
Okay, no, so that's not it. I was looking up something while you were saying that.
But hold on
and
the
it lead
card.
me to that.
But
Jesus
hold on the
gave me
card.
enough.
Now that you said this, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. The book of Isaiah was written after the coming of Jesus?
No, Isaiah was a prophet.
But he
Isaiah
speaks,
prophesied.
but if he speaks about Jesus having been whipped in the past tense,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't say he will be. He said he was. So that would mean that it had happened prior to him writing this.
Um,
So
I don't know. Remember, it's not written in chronological order. But then
no, no,
I
it's
can't see
not.
under the law
You guess what?
that Isaiah was written before. Yeah,
Say, me hear what you say.
I said I can't see the book of Isaiah being written after that, because there is too much law stuff going on in there for that to have been so.
All right, that has added another layer of confusion that we talk about quite often. Because if he says, surely he hath borne our grief and carried, now this is all written in the past tense, and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Eric say that was the prophecy. Isaiah prophesied Christ's death.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you
You're reading
understand?
it as in past tense, as is
I
it
don't mean I
written
read it,
there.
so I saw it's written. But if it's written in
Right.
past tense, that is going to be my understanding that this would have occurred already. If he said will, it will occur. I'm looking towards the future. So I'm looking towards Isaiah saying, Christ will die for you. He will be whipped, and he will be whipped for your transgression and all of that. But if he said that he was whipped for your transgression, it tells me that it has happened already.
So read
Because
it in context then.
I'm not
Read it.
reading this at all to be religiously correct, guys. I am reading this based on how it is presented to me. So
So what
talk
I'm
to
saying,
me.
read it in context. Read it in context, and let's see if there is a clarification.
Then that me I do me think me not read it in a context. Where's I'm read it again?
No, read what comes before that.
Okay, let's see. We are on Isaiah 53, guys. Who hath believed our report? And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up. All right, you hear that shall? Okay.
Right.
For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. All right? He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And he hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs, and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him not. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, Yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he opened not his mouth.
So he's
Kush
saying,
said you can find out about chronology.
so this is what I gather.
Uh-huh.
He's saying, he's prophesying that when we see him, he's not anything pretty to look about on, or, we don't think that he's the Son of God, or don't think that he is given this assignment, because he's not comely. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
He hath no form nor comeliness.
Right. Well, what you're seeing was whipped and bruised and went to the cross and got beaten with stripes and all of that.
Okay, my thoughts are running wild here.
Yeah.
Yeah, my thoughts are running wild. Kush says that is that we believe in the finished work of Christ.
Okay, that's
Dear
neither here nor there.
sister, you can find related verses with this verse for study. Paco, what's up? How you doing? All right. Isaiah prophesied Christ's death. I understand that, Eric. Isaiah was supposed to be a prophet, but my question is, as I read this with a lot of objectivity, I say, why use in the past tense? I don't want to have to go back and forth with the tenses that are being used. If it's a past tense that's being used, I want to understand it as such. If it's a present tense that's being used, I want to understand this as such. If it's a future tense that's being used, I want to understand it as such. Why am I now forced to think, to reinterpret what I just read when it was written in the past tense, and now you all are saying no, it was the future, it hadn't happened yet, Isaiah had prophesied it, but it's written in the past tense? You all see the confusion that I speak of? It is present right here now. The confusion that causes people who read the Bible and claim to understand it or want to understand it find themselves at a crossroads when we encounter this kind of confusion, these kinds of ambiguities. We are like, where do I go from here? Am I supposed to now take directions from my fellow man who say, oh, no, man, let's change this language, even though it says it speaks of the future tense. It speaks of the past tense. He was really talking about the future tense. Even though you look like a woman, Trev, you're really a man. Like, where am I supposed to go with this?
No,
Where
I
am I
don't think
supposed to
it's
go with this?
saying that. And what I think it's saying is that he is speaking of when you actually remember when Mary went to the tomb. Mary, who spent all her life near to Jesus, next to Jesus, hugging up with Jesus and washing his feet and all of these things, she could not have recognized him. She couldn't recognize him. You remember that? Yeah, when he rose, Mary went to the tomb and she saw Jesus and actually thought that he was the gardener. So if you and I are friends, and we know each other for so long, we spend so much time with each other and all of that, and then somebody, your husband beat you up, give you a couple black eye, this and that, and I, walk past you or go looking for you, and I'm looking at you, but I can't even recognize you.
But was it just that she could not recognize him, or because it was not in her mind that he would be resurrected, that she was not looking to see him? Because if you and I, if me just come from your funeral, me just see them bury you, you're dead, and me a come down the road tomorrow, and me see you, me not gonna think of you. In my mind, that's not going to be my first conception that that is you. I am going to, it could be anybody, it could be the neighbor, it could be anybody in my mind but you, because me know you were just buried. So me know see you. So could it be that that's what Mary was experiencing?
She had a conversation with him. She stood there talking to him and said, oh, he said to her, what are you looking for? He said, oh, have you seen where they buried my Lord? They stand up there having a conversation, and then he said, look, it's me. I'm here. So why does he have to tell her that it's me? If you're my friend and I spend so much time with you, whether I saw you buried or not, I'm gonna recognize you when I see you.
God, no, sir. You are making it seem like it is commonplace for people to see people who have been buried walking around. It is not commonplace. No. So if I see you, all right, me and you spend so much time together. Me know you. If me look at you, as soon as me see you, me can say, okay, sick of that, I can't that. All right. If me bury you today, and I'm at your funeral, and I know say, I can't, me looking at a casket, me say, you're buried, you're gone. Couple days later, me a come through the mall, me see you, and me and you stand there, and me and this person talking. Me I look at the person and me I say, oh man, that's somebody I look like God, but no sir, God was buried. But me not talk out loud because in my mind, I'm trying to rationalize whether what I'm seeing is true or not. Like, no sir, am I dreaming? What? So can you imagine all that was going through Mary's mind, because she knows that it cannot be real that this person she's talking to was the same person who was buried a few days ago. And that would be me too.
When she recognized even his voice, it's one thing for me to see you, but now you're talking to me and I still don't recognize your voice?
Yes, but in my mind I'm still confused. Is this real? Am I in a dream? It's not real because even remember that Paul had also talked about the people not believing that resurrection was real. So imagine the confusion. Somebody says, what is the difference between stripes and lashes? Yeah, not the same.
Well, listen, you were just proving the point that you just read in Isaiah. That when
hey, brown man.
When you see him, when you see him, you're not even going to be able to recognize him. Because of what he's been through. Are you listening?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, and that's what Isaiah is saying. That when you behold him and you look at him, you now don't even recognize that this is the same God that's been through these things. Because he's all mangled, he's all, beaten and bruised. Read it, it just said it. And it talk about it in the past tense because he's saying that he's talking as though it's already happened.
Okay, I guess
so when you look on him and you see him, it's not even going to make sense that this is the same person.
We're going to have to revisit that again off the live because I don't want to. Yeah, we're going to revisit that again off the live. Okay?
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, we are going to revisit Isaiah again because on Isaiah we are reading now. We just went back there for context. All right, we are going to continue moving. We'll continue moving along. For those of you, brown man, what's up? What are you doing? Make us continue. We are on to. Oh, we just finished reading it, right? Let us go back again to verse 27. In weariness and painfulness, in watchings often, often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness, beside those things that are outside. Mitchable, what's up? How are you doing, my love? Good morning. In weariness and painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fastings often, in cold and nakedness. Beside those things that are outside, that which comes upon me daily, the care of all the churches. Who is weak? And I am not weak. Who is offended? And I burnt not? If I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. The God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, which is blessed forevermore, knoweth that I lie not. Yes, he says, God knows I'm telling the truth. In Damascus, the governor under Aretas, the king, kept the city of the Damascenians with a garrison, desirous to apprehend me. And through a window in a basket was I let down by the wall and escaped his hands. Then me let down Paul in a one basket, card. I must say that the time him did escape the beating. Was that the time he escaped the 40 lashes? But I didn't know that. I remember having read that before, that he was let down. That he was let down in a basket out of the window, so he escaped from being imprisoned. Oh. Did I read that?
Yes, you did.
I did? That he was let down through a window?
Yes.
When we did read that?
That gotta be somewhere like in Acts.
Really? Wait, don't help me go back to that, because I don't remember. I know I can't possibly remember every single thing I've read in this Bible here. So I like when y'all remind me of what I have read. I remember some things, I remember a lot, but I cannot possibly remember every single thing that I have read in this Bible here. And I don't remember having read that Paul was let down in a basket out of a window.
Acts 9:25.
Jesus God, me say God. Me say God had good win some. God had really good. We say Acts what?
9.
Acts 9 verse what?
Like 20 something. Like
Oh, 25. Yeah, me see it. Me see it at 25. It says, 24 says, but their laying wait was unknown of Saul, and they watched the gates day and night to unalive him. Then the disciples took him by night and let him down by the wall in a basket. Me did read it for you. Oh, oh my gosh. I had read it for real, guys. Yeah. Okay, so Acts 9 verse 25. They had let him down in a basket so he could escape being beaten, being imprisoned and beaten again. Oh, okay. All right. So I have to go make note of it, you know, guys. I have to go make note. Say, the Acts chapter 9 and verse 25 is the same thing Paul is talking about here in the Acts, in the 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 33. See, that's why I tell you all, you know, when you come, when you get a little book and make a little notes. Yeah, because it is good to make notes when you read, because otherwise you're not going to remember everything. Okay? So me write it here. So Acts 9 verse 25 and 2 Corinthians 11 verse 33. All right. Boy, God have to go tell me our secret. When some say you have to go tell her where you eat, make you have to remember so much.
Lots of fish.
Me need to know here she say lots of fish. I true you know she eat all fish eye and fish tail. Just give her fish, she will eat it all. So I must the fish. I'm inspired to eat some more fish. I swear. Okay, guys, so here we are. So that we have clarified. So Paul was indeed at one point let down in a basket out of a window so that he could escape being captured by those who wanted to capture him because they were upset about his teachings. Oh, ain't that something? Let us move right along. Chapter 12, we are moving on to... God, stunt me right yesterday. I don't know where I'm going. With some soul for omega-3 I eat, God. We have to follow suit, Winsor. We are going to have to follow suit because we're lagging behind. Right, Mystic?
What is omega-3?
Omega-3...
Fish oil.
If I what?
Fish oil.
The fish, yes, omega-3 is fish oil. It means some say a lot of omega-3 where you get out of the fish. we have to follow suit, Sister Winsome. let us move right along, lovely people. As if me not write down my name, me not remember it.
Why you think Jesus have all that wisdom? He wasn't a fisherman.
Oh, you got a point right there, sis. You got a point. Let us, lovely people, not take a page out of God's book. Because look like God not forget nothing at all in the Bible where we read. But let us move right along. But remember, God did say study the Bible enough for 1 whole year, so it look like he did really study. Are you read off the Bible in a 1 year, God?
I wouldn't say that, no.
Oh, okay. Let us move right along. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I know a man in Christ about 14 years. Oh, may I read about, but he says above. I knew a man in Christ about 14 years ago. Whether in the body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. God knows. And he has all of that in brackets. Such as one caught up to the third heaven.
Yeah.
What? Michibu said God is the Siri of the Bible.
Michibu, you know what?
I like that. Michibu. I like that. But a true card. At the second time, me come. Watch out, when some say a second time I come a foreign and I still read the Bible. When some love me. Love me. Alright. Oh wow. What kind of third heaven this matter about, God? God, let me start reading this again without interruption. Let's read this again without interruption. It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Christ about 14 years ago. And he puts this in parentheses. He says, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell, God knows. And all of that was in parentheses. Such a one caught up to the third heaven. To the third heaven. And I knew such a man, and he puts in parentheses again, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. God knows. How that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, which it is not lawful for a man to utter. Of such a one will I glory, yet of myself I will not glory, but in my infirmities. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he sees me to be, or that he hears of me. Let's continue. unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. I want Willie Pass, let me just read this, guys.
So, so this is what I'm telling you, that Paul had a thorn in the flesh, and the thorn in the flesh, as we know it, is that all this writing, he dictated it to somebody who wrote it for him, because this buffeting that he said Satan give him, it was a blindness in his eye. He had an eye problem, an eyesight problem. And what he's saying is that God left him with that infirmity so that he don't think that he is God. Because it's only God that is fully perfect.
Oh. So was it that God believed that this Paul was going to take the teachings of Jesus and make it into his own and make himself his own Jesus?
I wouldn't go that far, because his writings does not suggest that, because he keeps telling them that, follow me as I follow Christ, and then he says that this gospel is like not of my own. He got it from the Lord to give it to them. So he's not claiming, to be any God or like Jesus or anything like that. Far be from it.
Oh, so this was supposed to keep him humble then? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. There you go.
Okay, let us continue. Verse 8 says, "For this thing I besought the Lord 3 times, that it might depart from me." So him go to the Lord 3 times.
Take away this infirmity.
Oh, the infirmity of the blindness.
Yeah.
Okay. "For this thing I besought the Lord 3 times, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, than the power of Christ may rest upon me." Who was caught up in the third heaven? That's a good question. Me no know. Me no
Or the
know.
man was.
Because me no know which third heaven. That's why I said I'm lost. I don't know about the third.
You got to go back to Genesis 28, and you would see that there's levels of heaven.
Wait, so we go back to Genesis 28. What does Genesis 28 say about third heaven? I thought back then there wasn't any. Moses is. Hold on. Where you say I need to go, Cad?
Check around Genesis 28, maybe like 10 or 12.
Genesis 28 verse 10 says, "And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place, and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place, and put them for his pillars, and lay down in that place to sleep." How does that connect to? I mean, I think that's where we needed to go.
Okay, what verse you in?
That was verse 10 and 11.
Okay, go to 12.
12 says, "And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascended and descended on it. And behold," this is 13 now, "and behold, the Lord stood above it, and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land wherein thou liest, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed." But hold on, not to stray from what we are reading, but from my recollection, this is the land of Haran. When, hold on, what was his name again? When Abraham left out of the Ur of the Chaldees, he went down to Haran. Didn't God already told him he was gonna give this land to his seed and his generations?
Yeah, God will give you.
Who remember that? Because Haran was the place where Abraham and Sarah and his nephew Lot had gone after they had left from the Ur of the Chaldees. That was where they had left from when they went down to Egypt, when the famine was on. Right? Am I right? I know I'm right. I know I'm not wrong.
Yes, you are.
Yes, that is sealed in my brain. So how comes now in this part of Genesis, it says Jacob, let me see what it says again. Jacob went from Beersheba and went towards Haran, and he stopped at a place and tarried there all night. And it went on to say that in his dream, he behold a ladder set up, and God was ascending, and behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land wherein thou liest, to thee will I give it, unto thy seed. Now we need to find out what had happened between the time when Abraham went to that place and now that Jacob is going to Haran. I'm not sure yet what happened, and I don't want to corrupt this morning's lesson with that, but bear in mind, so we are going to revisit that, because Haran was the place where Jacob, Sarah, and Lot went after they left from the Ur of the Chaldees.
So you're talking about generations after Abraham.
Right, that was generations after Abraham.
His grandson.
Right. So we're going to revisit that and see what had happened during the course of time after Abraham. Because when Abraham left Egypt after they chased him out with Sarah, he didn't say he went back to Haran. So where did he go when he left there, God? Where did he go? Did the Bible ever say? It must have. I may have forgotten. Did it say where he went with all those cows and horses and donkeys and all those treasures when he left? Because he left Egypt a very rich man. Did he say where he went? I don't remember having read where he went. Where Abraham went after he left. Where did Abraham go after he left Egypt? After the Pharaohs gave him back Sarah and him and Lot left Egypt. Where did he go after that? Because he had lots of cows and horses and donkey, lots of stuff he had gotten from the dowry that the Egyptians had paid him for Sarah, plus what he had acquired while he was down there. Where did he go? Because I don't remember it saying that he went back to Haran. Because him and Lot, after they had left Egypt, they had separated because Lot had all of his wealth that he had acquired while in Egypt, and Abraham had all of his riches that he had acquired, and so he had told Lot that we can't have our herdsmen together having conflict, and then my animal and your animals getting mixed up. It can cause too much conflict. So we are going to separate, and you are going to go your way.
Yeah, but they didn't.
I don't remember where did it say he went though. But anyway, we're gonna sweat that this morning because
no, it's not. Are you there?
Yeah, me I hear you. Because I
You
know that,
hearing me?
yes, Lot went
Okay,
towards
so
Sodom at the
it's not a
time.
separation as in distance. He told he told him to choose the side. He told Lot to choose the side that he wants.
Right.
And then whatever he left him with, that's what Abraham took. So
Yes.
Lot took the part that looked like it was, well, uh, fertile and had the best flock and this and that.
Yeah, because
But in the
he went
end,
down to Sodom.
Abraham ended up having the best of everything. But what I'm saying is not a separation as in distance. They just say, okay, this is Israel. You take Gaza, I take here.
You say
So
it
there was
wasn't.
just like a little line or border between them. They didn't leave them. Yeah.
My understanding of it though was that he meant that they can no longer tarry together, because the animals, the Bible even did reference the animals that the herdsmen, Lot's herdsmen and Abraham's herdsmen and the animals were constantly coming into conflict because everybody traveling together. Imagine me have 1,000 cow, 500 goat, and my 500 goat, and your 500 goat, and while we are travel together, the goat them I get mixed up. And me I say the one that with the white stripe that was mine, and you I say no sir, can't did yours. So I can imagine that there would have to be conflict. Why Abraham said, you know what, to Lot, look all around. Look all around and decide which side you are going to take. Anywhere you take, I will take the leftover. So if you decide to take this side over here to the left, that side over here to the right, that side to the south, that side, whichever side, you look around and choose, because we have to separate at this point, or else this conflict is going to continue. I mean, I want this conflict. My herdsmen, your herdsmen, I fight over which cow for me, which cow for you, and all of that. And that's when Lot took the side that led down to Sodom. What Eric said, Abraham stayed in the mountains after he left Egypt. I don't know, but we weren't on Abraham, so let us quit corrupting the reading this morning with that, because some people who were following what we were reading in Second Corinthians might have been lost by us starting to talk about Abraham, which is way back over there in the Genesis. All right, so let us continue. Pedrulo says, speak English. Pedrulo, I don't know you. I don't know what language you speak. I'm going to will myself not to respond to such ignorance. When you come in a public domain, people here speaking all kinds of language. It doesn't matter how I sound. Remove yourself. I don't have to speak English if I'm here to appease anybody. And let me just leave that right there. So you people are really aggravating. But anyway, too early for you know. Let us continue. We are on to the Second Corinthians.
Make her go eat fish for breakfast.
Yeah, go eat fish. And that's a good one. That's a good one. Go eat fish. Need some omega 3, right? Let us continue. Sister Winsome, you ready? We are moving right along. We are on to 2 Corinthians chapter 12, gentle people, if you are wondering. And we are now on to verse, we're going to read verse 7 again. And lest I shall be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord 3 times, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses, for Christ's sake. And when I am weak, then am I strong. I am become a fool in glorying. Ye have compelled me, for I ought to have been commended of you. For in nothing am I behind the very chiefest apostles, though I be nothing. Truly the signs of an apostle were wrought among you in all patience, in signs and wonders, and mighty deeds. For what is it wherein he were inferior to other churches, except it be that I myself was not burdensome? In it that I would myself was not burdensome to you? Forgive me this wrong. Let me read that again. For what is it wherein he were inferior to other churches, except it be that I myself was not burdensome to you? Forgive me for this wrong. Behold, the third time I am ready to come to you, and I will not be burdensome to you, for I seek not yours, but you. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children. Ooh, that sounds interesting. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children. And I will very gladly spend and be spent for you, though the more abundantly I love you, the less I be loved. But be it so, I did not burden you. Nevertheless, being crafty, I caught you with guile. Hawekade. Wasn't guile the same kind of craftiness that Satan used with Abraham, with Eve in the garden? Why would he say he has caught the people with guile, with deception? Me not get it. Paul is, when I say the Bible confusing, I perfectly understand. Because Paul a drop here riddle. You understand? 1 minute you're thinking he's wholesome in his speech and in his deeds. And the next minute you find words that make you question what he was saying prior. And I'm at that stage right now where, why is he telling the people that he has caught them with guile? Guile is the same deception that in Genesis we read about the snake, the serpent using to trick Eve. And we saw that was not a good trick, right? Why is he talking about getting them through craftiness? I don't know. But I'm going to continue reading. I'm just going to put a mark there so that I can revisit it at some time, but me not get it. Verse 17 says, did I make a gain of you by any of them whom I sent unto you? Right, so did I make a gain? Did I trick you? Did I get something from any of them that I sent to you? I desired Titus, and with him I sent a brother. Did Titus make a gain of you? Walk me not in the same spirit Walked we not in the same spirit? Walked we not in the same steps? Again, think ye that we excuse ourselves unto you? We speak before God in Christ, but we do all things, dearly beloved, for your edification. So regardless, I guess he's saying, regardless of what you may think of what I have done it for your edification. So whether it was through, whether I had to trick somebody, rob somebody, whatever, to bring this gospel to you, just consider it was for your sake that I would have done all those things. Is that what Paul is saying? That I brought you this gospel by all means necessary, regardless of what I did to bring it to you. So just accept it based on the merit that I did all these things, good or bad, just so that I could bring you this good thing. It'd be could that be equated to like a mother, a child bringing in stolen goods to the mother, and the mother questioning where the child got these things from, and the child say, well, no matter where me get it from, you were hungry, so me bring it come give for you eat. So just eat it and not ask me. No worry about who me shoot or who me hurt to get this food for you. Just know so me bring it to you because you hungry and you get it for eat. So this will save you from dying. I don't know, guys. I'm just here. Take me as I am. I'm just reading what is in the Bible. All right, well, that's what he said to the people at the Corinth. For I fear, Miss Thing says, tell them for me. Tell them. Thank you so much, Miss Thing. Verse 20. I'm going to read verse 18 again. He says, I desired Titus, and with him I sent a brother. Did Titus make a gain of you? Walked we not in the same spirit? Walked we not in the same steps? Again, think ye that we excuse ourselves unto you? We speak before God in Christ, but we do all things, dearly beloved, for your edifying. For I fear, lest when I come, I shall not find you such as I would, and that I shall be found unto you such as ye would not, lest there be debates, envying, wrath, strifes, backbitings, whisperings, swellings, tumults, and lest when I come again, my God will humble me among you, and that I shall bewail many which have sinned already, and have not repented of the uncleanliness and fornication and lasciviousness which they have committed. That is the end of the 2 Corinthians chapter 12. We are going to move right along into chapter 13, and chapter 13 is the last chapter in the 2 Corinthians. All right, let's see what else Paul got to say to the people. Paul's got a lot to say. He has said an awful lot, a mighty lot to the people. Hear him just tell them, it don't matter how me bring on the gospel, just know that I have brought it to you for your edification. So don't worry about how I brought it or what I did to be able to bring it to you. I'm not so sure about his presentation right there. It's like he's willing the people to glorify him for having brought this great gospel to them. And he's telling them, don't question it. I don't like that. Because I don't know me fast and nosy. I mean like question. So I'm not so sure I'm in alignment. My thought process at the moment is in alignment with what he's saying to the people. I'm at a crossroads right there with Paul telling the people that. But I'm sure that as we continue reading, he might come up with some kind of explanation as to why he has said that. Because don't you think that would intimidate the people into believing what Paul is saying? Because I think it's a intimidating strategy he's using against the people to say, hey, look at me, I did so much for you to bring you this gospel because you so badly needed it, and look all that I did to bring it to you. Yeah, I get what I'm saying. Okay. I don't know if Paul look a sympathy vote or what, but we are going to continue. Chapter 13. This is the third time. See him say? This is the third time he's coming down to the Corinth. This is the third time that I am coming to you. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established. I told you before, and I have foretold you, as if I were present the second time, and being absent now, I write to them which herefore have sinned, and to all others, that if I come again, I will not spare. Since ye seek a proof of Christ speaking in me, which to you, ward, is not weak, but is mighty in you. All right, so you see the same thing I was saying just now. He might try to intimidate the people them into believing what he's saying. Here he's saying the people are clearly questioning. Because if somebody comes to you and start preaching, teaching, telling you all these things, what's going to happen to you, or you're going to die, you're going to go to hell, all these things, somebody come preaching some kind of religion to you, wouldn't you be concerned about whether or not this person was sent of God, or who sent this person? What's this person's motive? Why is this person coming to preach this to you? Wouldn't you question it? So that is the same experience Paul is having, and that is not too far-fetched, that the people are questioning him and his motive. So here he's trying to justify every single aspect of his coming to preach to the people. And that is why he told them that it didn't matter. They shouldn't worry about where he acquired the teachings or any material that he has brought to them. Just know that he brought it to them. He's like sort of crying like a crybaby to say, look at me, sort of what I interpret as a manipulative strategy, for the people to sympathize with him. That's how I am getting it. He's telling the people, I did this all for you, I did this quite bigly, all for you. Why am I getting that feeling? All right. Miss thinks absolutely we still do it today. Yes, we do. So I'm going to continue reading, but I just had to express to you how I feel about what I have read here. Me know we cut them. Oh, she probably a drive. It is minutes to 10. But let us continue with the reading. Verse 4. Amor, I was wondering what happened to you. So my mind run by him. I said, this is odd. Why does my mind don't usually run on my friends on the net? But my mind did run on you. Okay. Erdly, good morning. Good to see you, my love. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Happy Saturday morning to you, my love. Let us continue. For though he was crucified through weakness, yet he lived by the power of God. For we also are weak in him, but we shall live with him by the power of God towards you. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves? Know ye not your own selves? How that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates? But I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates. Now I pray to God that ye do no evil, not that we should appear approved, but that he should do that which is honest, though we be as reprobates. It's good energy. It's gotta be, right? We only deal with good energy over here. But good to see you. Happy Saturday. I hope you're feeling well, my love. That's my friend there, DJ Amor. All right, let us continue. Larry Johnson, welcome. Let us continue, lovely people. Verse 8 says, for we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. For we are glad when we are weak, and ye are strong. And this also we wish, even your perfection. Therefore I write these things being absent, lest being present I should use sharpness, according to the power which the Lord hath given me, to edification, and not to destruction. Tyson, good morning. How you doing? Welcome. How you been? Let us continue. Finally, brethren, farewell. Be perfect. Be of good comfort. Be of one mind. Live in peace. And the God of love and peace shall be with you. Greet one another with a holy kiss. All the saints salute you. Okay, so let's see why the people them greet each other with a kiss. Yeah, Paul said greet each other, but that was Jewish custom, right? To greet each other with a kiss. So here Paul is saying, greet each other with a holy kiss. All the saints salute you. The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the communion of the Holy Ghost be with you all. Amen. This is the end of the 2 Corinthians chapter 13. Okay, this is Paul's what he says is his third time. That's his third time going to the Corinth. He has prided himself on being the one who has been given this gospel to spread all over, and he's traveling from place to place and delivering this gospel, and he's fully aware that there are people who are questioning his authenticity. And so with that, he's explaining to them even before they ask, because he knows that there is no way that they could be getting converted by his preachings and not question who sent him, where him come from, why is he doing this, and everything else that go with that. So he's making sure that he explain himself to them, where him come from, who sent him, and all that he has done to have gotten this gospel to them. And for some reason, to me, it just feels as though he is He's using more than just the preaching of the gospel to win these people over. He is seeking some sympathy votes here. He's saying, look all that I did to bring all this to you, to edify you. They're coming like the slave masters, how they brought all these teachings to the slaves. Remember, they brought the Bible as well to the slaves and say, oh, look at it. We are so great. We gave you a story that is supposed to save you. So after we have beaten you to death, please know that you will come back to life and you're going to go to a place where there's going to be milk and honey and you're going to be able to play with lions and all of this. Where may I get that energy there from Paul? Just saying. But anyway, it's something to chew on for today, this Saturday, the last Saturday in the month of July of 2024. And with that, that's where I'm going to end this morning's reading. When we come back, I'm not saying about coming back. I'm not saying nothing at all about coming back. When we meet again tomorrow morning, we will continue. Early, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And you got to tie in everything. You have to tie in everything so that it will help you to understand what you are reading. Because I am not here claiming that what is in the Bible is true. And I'm not claiming that what is in the Bible is not true. I am not claiming anything where the Bible is concerned. I am reading it with a mind so open, you can see my brains. Okay? Because I want to understand it, and I am trying my best not to have my understanding of what I'm reading corrupted by any other forces, except to read it and trying to understand it objectively. Yeah, with a lot of objectivity. Okay, my friends? Yeah. So that is where we are going to end our reading for this morning. I will see you all again sometime later. I want to say thanks to everybody who has come into the live. If you came in the live on the tube, if you just touch your screen, it will register a like. If you came over on the top, if you tap your screen a couple of times, that will register some likes for the live. I want to say thanks to everybody who came in, Miss Sting and Cad. Oh my God, I appreciate Cad's input into the live every single time. Every single time, Cad is able to help steer us along, because that is somebody who has read the Bible with great objectivity and is able to contribute meaningfully to the conversation. And I sincerely appreciate it. Andrea said, Paul come with a politician strategy. I agree with you. Yeah, because if you bring the word, you know, why he got to get sympathy for having brought the word? Why is he playing on these people's emotions? You know, look all that I did to bring the word to you. Me rob the other churches. Me carry protection for you know, me do all of this. Why? Yeah. So Paul really give me the politician vibes, and we know so that is the same vibes that we get from preachers even until this day. When you see a preacher up there preaching, he might tell you why you have to come to him and all that he can do for you, and a lot of people fall for it, you know, but that is part of being a politician. And we know that politics and religion runs hand in hand. They are one bird with two different wings. Yes, what I mean. Annalie, I look at Annalie. Me and Annalie have a very healthy love-hate relationship in terms of thoughts, not in person, but in terms of our agreements and disagreements, right, Annalie? Yeah, we agree some things we don't see eye to eye, but we still have a great relationship. If religion and politics could have that kind of relationship, I tell you, it would be good for us, but it's not. There's always people fighting. Ah, thank you, Misty. I get a what a hand heart. Thank you, Miss Thing. Thanks to everybody who came into the live this morning. Those of you who are on the tube, thank you so much for coming. I know there was somebody who was actively communicating over here. I forget the name. Kush, I think the name was, who was actively communicating. Andre as well, and Winsome, DJ Amor, AG, and everybody else. I saw my friend Kenata was over here as well. My friend Renata from Brazil, and others. I think my friend from Poland was there too. But welcome, but thank you all, welcome. But thank you all guys for having come. I sincerely appreciate you all. I will see you all again later. I'm gonna go check on my garden. I'm gonna show you all what's in my garden in a little bit. When we get off the live, I will show you all what my garden is not going on too well, but I appreciate what's going on out there. All right, so that's going to be it from me for right now, my friends. Until next time. This is Trev from Trev Essesnce, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, everybody, and thank you, Miss Thing, for the love. I appreciate it. See you later, guys. I need to make 2